This is an overview video for the game Praetor, which is a game for 2 to 5 players, ages 12 and up. Should take about 60 to 90 minutes. So let's take a look inside here. The game casts you in the role of builders adjacent to Hadrian's Wall, and you need to build a city, gather resources and things like that in order to build a city and hopefully obtain some favor points so that you can become the praetor of the newly built city. So let's see, we've got some boards here that we'll be punching. We have, of course, the rule book. Complete setup for a 3-player game right here. There are a couple of variants and some overview information here. And on the back, there is a reference for the city tiles described in detail. We'll take a look at some of those city tiles as well. These are 4 reference sheets, so they also have the city tiles described here. This is heavier than normal paper. It's actually heavier than the individual pages of the rule book, so that's nice. And then in here, of course, we've got the resource cubes, the dice, which are your workers in this game, and then a number of markers to mark several areas that we'll look at on the game board. And then finally a bag of bags so that you can store all these and separate them appropriately. Before we take a closer look at the tiles and some of the other game boards, here are some of the individual loose components that we have here. We have money in the form of coins that represent single gold coins as well as 5. Over on this side we have 4 resources. These represent wood. These gray ones here are stone, and the white ones are marble, and the black ones are weapons. These are wooden cubes representing these resources. Then here in the middle we've got the 5 player colors, so every player chooses a color. The dice represent the workers that you're going to be placing, and their experience level is indicated by the pip that's face up. So 1 becomes 2, becomes 3, and so on, all the way to the point where they're retired. The wooden discs are used to mark a few spots on the player board as well as on the common favor board. It also indicates turn order. And the wooden discs are also used to identify which city components are owned by which players. Because whenever you're going to go activate a city tile, you may have to pay an activation fee to the player that owns that tile. The common board is made up of these 2 tiles. And that's where you're going to be tracking favor points, which is how you win the game. So for example, yellow is at 10, blue is at 37, and so on. This is also where you're going to track the turn order, which may change from round to round. This is the player board, and each player gets 1. One of their discs is used to mark their point on the morale track. And these are worth points at the end of the game, positive points, but then also negative points, potentially. Over in this area, these are the villagers, and the villagers represent the pool of available workers. And as you train them, you move them into these 2 training spots here. Your active workers are going to go in this upper row here. And each one of these also indicates what salary you have to pay them. And notice the more workers, active workers you have going, the more you have to pay, times 2, times 3, and so on. And then down here in this lower row is where your retired workers go. And they have a pension as well that you have to pay during one of the phases of the game. Over on this side is an exchange rate, and this indicates what it would cost you in order to receive these resources. The player boards are labeled down here in this corner with the letter A, and all of the boards that show A are identical, and that's what's recommended for the first few times that you play. But something interesting that you can do to increase the replayability is you can flip over to the B side so that the letter B is indicated here. The B sides are all different, slightly different. So you have this asymmetric gameplay that you can do. So for example, as you can see here, the salary for active workers increases here, where here it remains the same, but then it increases over here. Also notice that the exchange rate might be a little different. And also, when workers become retired in age 1 and they move to this row, both of these get 12 favor points when that happens. But in age 2, this player will get 8 and this player will get 6. So that is true of all of these player boards, is that they have the A side and they have the B side, just to add some variety to your gameplay. This stack of tiles here represents segments of the wall that you can build. They are put face down, and one is available to build each round. If it doesn't get built, it gets removed and another tile is turned up. So in that way, this is one of the timers for the game. So after 14 of these are gone, the game ends. In order to build the wall segment, of course, you just have to pay the resources that are printed on here. So 1 weapon and 4 gold, for example. When you build it, you score the favor points that are printed on the tile. But the nice thing is that as you build more tiles, let's say you already had 2 built, if you build a third wall segment, not only do you get the points indicated here, but you also get additional points for parts of the wall that have already been built. So most of the action of the game is going to take place on these city tiles. If this pile ever is completely empty, that also triggers an end to the game. So in this example, this is a starting array for a 3-player game. You've got the 3 gold mines and these 3 common city tiles here. And each player claims a gold mine, whichever one is closest to them. So you're going to have a stack of city tiles that you can build from, and there's a certain number of them that are face up at any given time. When you build the tile, not only do you get the favor points printed on the tile, you also take ownership of the tile, which means that people will have to pay you in order to activate it. But then also, when you're laying the tile, you can gain a bonus if you're able to match these corner icons color to color. So you get 1 bonus because of this match here. Let's see, you would get 1 bonus for this one, and so on. So if you can find a combination like this, for example, you'll have 2 bonuses available because of this plaza, this mosaic here that you have all matching. And that is Praetor. You have worker placement in the form of these dice here that you have to train, and then you place on the tiles in order to get the resources that you need. You build city tiles so that hopefully an active player has to use your city tile so that you can get a little activation fee for that. Match the corners here so that you get bonuses if possible. Don't forget to pay your salary to your workers as well as your pension to your workers. You're tracking everything here on the favor chart, including turn order, which can change from round to round. You have wall segments available to build, and no matter what, whether it's built or not, you're always going to see a new wall segment because that's one of the timers for the game. And the other timer is if you ever manage to get all of these built, the game ends as well. And that's all there is to it. So hopefully you enjoy the game and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.